Shalom, shalom, shalom. First, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakah, Kodash, Tawada. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who are leading this word in truth, in spirit, and sincerity. And salutations to all the righteous brothers on the highways and byways that are bringing out this word in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, in truth and in spirit and sincerity. Shalom, shalom, shalom. As you can see, today's edification is called For There Was War, and there was war in heaven. And there was war in heaven. So, without further ado, I'm going to play this quick video. Darbu's tracking these Americans and these Chinese and these Russians, boy. I'm going to play this quick video, and then we're going to bring out some scriptures. We're going to bring out some powerful scriptures. All right? Because things are surely moving. And this is a guy, I mean, I said to you, you go to his site, it's called Darbu77, and he brings up some very good shit concerning what's going on in the secular world. He just doesn't know how to connect the dots to the scriptures, to the prophecies of what he is witnessing going on. But he's very good of uncovering and revealing what's going on in the secular world. This brother here, whose YouTube channel is Darbu77. But when it comes to connecting what's going on in the secular world to the scriptures, that's not his forte. Not yet. So, without further ado, listen to this short broadcast that he put together, and then we're going to pull out the scriptures. We're going to show him what he is looking for in the scriptures. All right? All praises.
Interesting things happening here today in terms of war in space. Some things we need to look at here closely. First off, they've been announcing a lot of these asteroids here lately, but they missed one that came extremely close just last week. Now, they're saying 3 huge asteroids are headed toward Earth after an amateur astronomer spots a massive space rock that our planetary defenses completely missed. This comes on the heels of an announcement today that Russia and China have DEWs, direct energy weapons. That is the exact verbiage used by our U.S. military in calling them out today. The timing of which is pretty crazy. Because when we go over and we look at Elon Musk's image on his Twitter, he has changed it to what it looks like, a direct energy weapon. As you can see right here, it looks like a beam. Just a direct energy beam blasting straight down. What it is really, what all's going on here, we don't know, but the timing, I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence. They're doing these things for a reason. So, this DEW beam, all of a sudden in Elon's image, right as they're saying that China and Russia have these weapons. Now, you know the United States has got some of their own. They're not saying anything in that department. But here recently, everything with the space wars has been heating up. The whole space divisions, they said that Russia had certain satellites up there that were weaponized, meaning that they could bite into another satellite. Russia admitted this. They're like, oh, it's not a weapon. It's up there to help clean up space. It's eating junk. It's munching on all the old metal and collecting it. The United States is like, bull. It could bite right into any active satellite and cripple it and take it out. And it could. That's just a basic chomper on one of these satellites they've got up there operating. You start talking about high-tech direct energy weapons. You're talking about blasting things from space, anything and everything. You could be zapping planes out of the skies like birds. You could be zapping installations. You could be causing so much to happen. Blasting holes in the earth. Who knows? At this point, this is high-grade stuff. What we do know is that they're talking about it left and right. And they're admitting that DEWs are real. It's not a conspiracy theory. Okay, so when it's brought up in connection with other things like whole neighborhoods being roasted yet the trees are standing, you can see why it's brought up. It's a very real thing, and they all know it. But this is kind of unprecedented, man. This is almost like a warning shot across the bow here that something's going on. I'm not sure what the next step's going to be. Is it going to be a move with one of these weapons, hitting a target, an attack on something? I don't know, but if they've got these weapons, when else in history have they ever sat back and not used them? So something's coming here on this world stage. Whether it be here on the ground or from the heavens, it's definitely all in their hands. And this sets the stage for a big show in the offing that we've talked about for a long time. They pull out Project Bluebeam. They pull out all these lasers. They pull out all the stuff. They can put on quite a show for the masses. So I'm going to break this down further. There's a lot to talk about here. So join me for the live stream.
So, Dabu knows something's going on. He just doesn't know exactly what it is. Right? It's his gut feeling. It's in his gut. This is what his gut is telling him. That something is going on. Something's coming from the heavens. You hear what he said? He said something's either coming from the heavens. Someone's going to set up one of these weapons. Someone's going to strike. Another nation's going to strike another nation first with these weapons. And we've never created weapons that we haven't used before. So he says a lot of the stuff that we speak of, but he just doesn't know what it is according to scripture. Because something is going on. Something absolutely is going on. The Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, and all of their NATO allies, they are all preparing for the coming of the Lord. For the coming of the Lord. I did a video yesterday called The Chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. This is what they're preparing for. This is why they got these laser beam, these space weapons, these laser satellites, and all these new technology that they've got. Because they are preparing themselves for the coming of the Lord. But we know, before the Lord comes, these nations will be at war with each other. Something's going to cause these nations, the Americans, to go to war against the Russians. Something's going to happen. Something's going to trigger in the Middle East. That's going to draw in the bigger nations to go to war with each other. Well, specifically what he was speaking of, he said he can't, Dabu was saying he can't, he said it's in his gut, he said he can't point it out, he says, is it coming from the heavens, he says. Right, he said he weren't sure. But we know according to biblical scripture, that's exactly where it's coming from. It's going to be coming from the heavens. Who's going to be coming from the heavens? Michael and the archangels, alongside Yahushai. So he feels it in his gut or in his spirit. He feels that this is it. The big show is coming. The greatest show on earth is coming. And he can feel it in his gut, but he doesn't know where it is in the scriptures. And that's all it is. A lot of people will speak about stuff, but they don't know it is biblical scripture. Biblical prophecy. What we are seeing, what we are witnessing. The New World Order. The mark of the beast, which is the microchip. This is all biblical prophecies that will come to pass. That will all lead up to World War III. And then eventually to the coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. Alongside Michael and the archangels to gather the elect from the four corners of the earth. And then to wage war with Esau, Edom, and all of his allied nations and NATO allied nations. And all of the other nations that are going to band together to fight against the Lord. So this is why they're all preparing. They're all preparing with their weapons. All the nations, China, Russia, America, the Brits, the French, the Iranians, the North Koreans, the East Indians, all of these nations, the Israelis, they're all nuclear armed and they're all preparing for the coming of the Lord. So this is the latest part of their technology, are these laser beam weapons. Because they know that the chariots of the Lord that are coming are going to have the capacity to shoot laser beams on them. That's going to be like a nuclear missile, but it's going to come in the form of a laser beam. And we spoke about that yesterday, 2 Ezra chapter 13. All right? But today we're going to go into Revelations 12 and 7. So this is what he's harping on about, but he just doesn't know it yet. He just can't connect the dots. But this is what Dabu was speaking of, but does not know that it is biblical prophecy, what's coming. Revelations 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his archangels fought against the dragon. The dragon is who? Esau, Edom. The so-called white man, NATO, and all of their allies fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought and his angels. So his angels are going to be all of his army, all of his F-16, F-35 jets, its satellite technology, everything that he's going to put up into the sky to fight against the Lord's chariot. That's going to be the first line of defense. This is why the nations are getting ready their space armed forces, because they know that the danger is coming from space. They understand that. And they know it's not little green men in UFOs. They understand that. The elites and super elites know that those people that are coming from outer space, from the heaven of heavens, are the Lord's angels. Just like how it prophesies here in the book of Revelation. It's going to be Michael and all of the archangels and the legions of angels. Because Michael is the main general in the Lord's army, alongside our Lord himself, Yahushua. So when you hear him harping on about, he just doesn't know what it is. He's speaking about, let's quick listen to it a little bit again.
It's munching on all the old metal and collecting it.
He's talking
The
about
United States is like
a satellite that Russia
were
has.
weaponized, meaning that they could. Wars has been heating up. The whole space divisions. They said that Russia States has got some of their own. They're not saying anything in that department. But here recently, everything with the space wars has been heating up. The whole space divisions. They said that Russia had certain satellites up there that were weaponized, meaning that they could bite into another satellite.
They're weaponized because they're getting ready for the Lord's chariots. This is why these satellites are weaponized. All of these nations that have satellite technology, satellites up in the atmosphere, out in the heavens, have weaponized these satellites because this is going to be the first line of defense against the Lord Michael and all of the archangels, the 7 archangels, all of the legions and legions of angels that are going to be coming alongside Michael and the Lord.
They're like, oh, it's not a weapon. It's up there to help clean up space. It's eating junk. It's munching on all the old metal and collecting it. The United States is like, bull. It could bite right into any active satellite and cripple it and take it out. And it could. That's just a basic chomper on one of these.
And that's because the war, the World War III, is going to be amongst the nations. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Libya, Turkey are all going to be on the same side fighting against America and America's NATO allies. The Israelis, the British, the French, the Germans, the Dutch, Denmark, Australia, all of the NATO allies are going to be fighting against Russia and the Russian allies. So this is how it's going to start. So this is what this technology is going to be first used against. They're going to use it against each other first. Listen up again.
Satellites they've got up there operating. You start talking about high-tech direct energy weapons. You're talking about blasting things from space, anything and everything. You could be zapping planes out of the skies like birds.
Right, hear that? And we spoke about this yesterday, right? In 2 Ezra chapter 13, right? When he says, verse 10, when it says, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Those are laser beams, the same technology that Esau has today. And remember, Esau gets that technology. The Most High put the spirit on Esau to have that technology because he wants him, he's preparing him. He's going to put the spirit on Esau to fight this war when the Lord comes. And they were what? And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight. These are all of the allies together that are going to be prepared to fight against the Lord, and burn them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So the Lord is going to put the spirit on Esau to fight this war, this ensuing war that's going to take place against the Lord, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, all of the archangels and all of the legions of angels. So when you hear Dabu speaking, he just doesn't know what he's actually presenting to you, what he's actually commentating on, what he's telling you, this news that he's telling you about this latest technology that the Russians, the Americans and the Chinese have. What Dabu doesn't understand, that this is biblical prophecy, all right? Because those same weapons that they have is because the Most High put the Spirit on these nations to have it. Because those are the weapons that the Most High's Son is coming with all of the archangels. Those chariots are going to have the most powerfulest lasers that you've ever seen. So, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has put the Spirit on Esau to develop those type of weapons. Remember what he did to Pharaoh. I've spoke about this before. He hardened Pharaoh's heart. Even after all of the 10 plagues that he put on Pharaoh. And the last plague was the killing of all of the firstborn in Egypt. He hardened his heart after he'd released the Israelites to go after the Israelites. So that when Yahushua came, he was going to show the almighty power on them when he destroyed literally the majority of Pharaoh's armies just above the Red Sea. Because he wanted to show his power. So he's doing the same thing again. He's hardening Esau's heart. He's hardening the nation's hearts of all of these heathen nations so that they're all going to prepare with all of their latest technologies to fight against the Lord. So listen to Dabu. Dabu just doesn't know that what he is speaking on, what he is commentating on, right? This news that he's revealing to the world about the technologies that these Americans, the Russians, and the Chinese have, is all biblical prophecy. Why are they all getting prepared for all their space armies and these space weapons? Because the threat is coming from outer space. The threat to all of these nations is coming from outer space. That's why he's preparing.
Installations. You could be causing so much to happen. Blasting holes in the earth. Who knows? At this point, this is high-grade stuff. What we do know is that they're talking about it left and right. And they're admitting that dues are real. It's not a conspiracy theory. Okay, so when it's brought up in connection with other things like whole neighborhoods being roasted yet the trees are standing, you can see why it's brought up. It's a very real thing, and they all know it. But this is kind of unprecedented, man. This is almost like a warning shot across the bow here that something's going on.
Yeah, he said something's going on. He just doesn't know what they're preparing for is Revelations 12 and 7. That war in heaven. What they're preparing for is 2 Ezra chapter 13. When the Lord comes. This is what they're preparing for. They're preparing for the coming of the Lord. They're preparing for 2 Ezra chapter 13. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. They're preparing for the Lord. So he feels it in his spirit. Dabu, right? Dabu feels it in his spirit. I said again, if you go to his site, he's got some very informal videos of what's going on in the secular world. But he doesn't know how to connect them to the biblical scriptures, to biblical prophecy. So he can feel it in his spirit. He says, something's going on.
And they all know it. But this is kind of unprecedented, man. This is almost like a warning shot across the bow here that something's going on. I'm not sure what the next step's going to be. Is it going to be a move with one of these weapons? Hitting a target? An attack on something? I don't know, but if they've got these weapons, when else in history have they ever sat back and not used them?
See? I say it all the time. Mankind has never created a weapon that they have not used. So if you still believe that these nations are not going to go to war with their nuclear weapons, then you're living in La La Land. That's all I can say. You're living on Michael Jackson's Neverland, Disney World. They have never created weapons that they haven't used. So these hydronuclear bombs that they have, they are going to use them against each other first, before they turn those weapons against the Lord and the chariots when he comes to gather the elect and to wage war against Esau and all of the other heathen nations. So he can feel it in his gut, but he doesn't know what it is. It's like his spirit must be riling him up, Darbo, but he doesn't know what it is.
So something's coming here on this world stage. Whether it be here on the ground or from the heavens, it's definitely...
So he knows, he can feel it in his spirit. He says something's coming on this world stage. It's going to be a world event. It's going to be a global world event. World War III. I said it already. You're going to be watching it on your TVs. The revolution shall be televised. World War III shall be televised. And so shall the coming of the Lord and Michael and Gabriel and Uriel and Raphael and all of the 7 archangels and all of the legions and legions and legions of angels that are going to be coming alongside Yahushua and Michael. It's going to be televised. So he can feel it in his spirit, but he just doesn't know what it is.
When else in history have they ever sat back and not used them? So something's coming here on this world stage.
Absolutely.
Whether it be here on the ground or from the heavens, it's definitely all in their hands. And this sets the stage for a big show in the offing that we've talked about for a long time.
And what's that big show? It's World War III. The coming of the Lord, the greatest show the world has ever seen, is coming to planet Earth very soon. But I tell you, boy, people truly better sort themselves out, boy, because even certain people who are not, I know Darbu believes in the Bible. That much I know about this brother. He speaks about it sometimes, but he doesn't understand the biblical prophecies. He doesn't know how to connect the dots. Now that's what we are. The scripture says Amos 3:7, right? The Lord does what? Let's read it out. This is what we're here to do. We're here to reveal the secrets of the Lord. Because why? Because we are the Lord's prophets. Surely the Lord power will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. And that's what we do. So whether you want to hear or whether you want to forbear, that's totally up to you. But let me tell you, this thing is happening. Gunfight at the OK Corral is going to happen. So back to Revelations. So this is what's coming, is this war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, which is Esau and his allied nations, all of the Edomites' military power. And the dragon fought and his angels, that's all of Esau's aeroplanes, Esau's F-jets, fighter jets, Esau's drones. They're all going to be out. Esau's satellites, all that laser power that Darbu's speaking of. It's all going to be out there in the atmosphere. That's the war in heaven. This is to come. And they prevailed not. They're not going to prevail. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. They're not going to prevail. They're not going to be able to defeat the Lord. Ezra's told you the exact same thing. Ezra's made it quite clear. Ezra, look. Ezra says they're going to be afraid. Ezra says here, I'm going to jump down. Ezra says, he says, but I beheld and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain, which is the chariot, what they call UFOs. That's the Yahushua's chariot. And he flew upon it. But I would have seen the region of the place whereout the hill was graven, I could not. That's how big the chariot it was. He couldn't see where it started or finished. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which gathered together to subdue him, right, all of the nations that had gathered together to fight the Lord, were so afraid, but yet do fight. So the Most High is going to put the spirit on Esau and these nations to fight. They're going to be frightened, but he's going to put the spirit on them to fight. Because they're going to be frightened when they see the glory of the Lord coming in the skies. So this is why it tells you in Revelation 7, 12 and 8. And they prevailed not. They're going to fight, but they're not going to prevail. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, which is Esau, Edom, the Edomites. Right? That old serpent called the devil, the deceiver. Remember, the word devil means to deceive. Esau is the greatest deceiver on the planet Earth. This is the man that's going around saying to the world that he is the children of Israel. The Edomites are proclaiming to the world that they are the Israelites, and they are not. He's the greatest deceiver on the planet Earth, right? Who's called the devil, which means deceiver, Diablo, in the Latin, deceiver, and Satan. The word Satan means what? Adversary, adversary. That's the Lord's greatest adversary is Esau, which deceiveth the whole world. How is he going to deceive the whole world with this new world order that is coming into play? This new world order that Esau is looking to implement with this COVID-19, these lockdowns, these wearing of the mask, the vaccinations is going to lead up to the microchip, these totalitarian government, this one world government. This is the man that's deceived the whole world. COVID-19 is one of his greatest deceptions. But he's going to use that to bring the hammer down on the nations, just so you understand. He says he was cast out into the earth. So all of his firepower that is now out in the space, all of these satellites, the laser satellites, all of these F5, F-35, F-15, MiG, MiG jets, all of these drones are all going to be licked out of the sky. He's going to be cast onto the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So all of his soldiers that are going to be in their fighter jets, all of those that are going to be controlling all of those drones are going to be licked out of the sky by the Lord. Now we know this again by 2nd Esdras again. He says it here. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, which are Esau, Edom, and all of his allies, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held a sword, nor instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it was being a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempest, the laser beams. And they were all mixed together, and the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest fell up with violence upon the multitude which prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only the dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Afterwards I saw, and the same man come down from the mountain, and called unto him another peaceable multitude. That's the elect. That's the elect. That's what it says. And they came much people unto him, wherefore some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and some of them were brought of them that were offered, them that were sick through great fear. And I awakened and I said, thou hast showed thy servant these wonders from the beginning, right? And hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayers. That's why we say the Lord has counted us worthy to be able to be his servant, for him to be able to reveal his secrets to us. He's counted us, the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Lord that are truly preaching this word on the highways and byways and different streaming platforms in truth, in spirit and sincerity. He has counted us worthy that he revealed his secret unto us. It's as simple as that. This war is coming. Daniel 12. Daniel 12 reminds you again. And at that time shall Michael stand up. What time is that? World War III. That's when World War III is going to be in play. That's the time that Daniel is referring to here. And at that time, the time of World War III, Michael shall stand up. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and there was war in heaven. That's the time, World War III. That's when Michael's going to stand up for the children of Israel. He'll be coming alongside the Lord. The great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. He's not standing up for the world or anyone that believes in the Lord or for equal opportunities Christianity. He's standing up for thy people, possessive pronoun. Who is Michael's people? The Israelites. And only the elect out of Israel is he going to be gathering alongside the other Israelites and Yahushai. The other angels, sorry. All right? And there shall be a time of trouble. And we're in that time now. It's just going to get worse. That time of trouble is now. If you can't see it, COVID-19 is going to play a massive part of that time of trouble that we're in now. All right? It's called Jacob's trouble that we're in now. And it's just going to get, as time goes on, as we get closer to the mark of the beast going out global, being implemented out global, as we get closer to the one world government, totalitarian one world government, it's going to get even worse for the children of Israel and for the other nations, but specifically for the children of Israel, because the elect know who we are. Not the elect, sorry. The elites know who the elect are. They know those gutter rats in Israel, calling themselves Israelis, are not the true children of Israel. The elites know that. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So that goes back to, if we go back to Revelations 12, when he says, Revelations 12 and 12, it says, therefore rejoice you heavens and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth. This is the same thing that Michael is referring to, is here. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, Esau, Edom, is come down unto you, having great wrath. Why? Because he knoweth that he has but a short time. This devil knows that he's at the end of his road, mate. But he's going to come down on us with an almighty wrath. Not just on the children of Israel, but on the whole world. This devil. So when it says here, and there shall be a time of trouble. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. That's what we're heading into now. We're in that time of trouble now, but it's just going to get worse. It's going to escalate. And at that time, thy people, who's Michael's people? The children of Israel, shall be delivered. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Those are what? The elect of Israel. Thy people. Not equal opportunity salvation. Anyone that believes in the Lord. Thy people. When you say, though, those are my people, because those are your family, your bloodline, they're from the same heritage. Thy people. Michael's people are the 12 tribes of Israel, the Israelites. Michael's people are your Hamites, your Africans, or your Chinese, or your Japanese, or your so-called white man, your Edomites, or your East Indians, Elamites, or Pakistanis, or your Vietnamese. Those are not Michael's people. Only the children of Israel are Michael's people. And yes, a lot of Israelites are scattered and mixed amongst the other nations and will look like the other nations, but they are truly from the 12 tribes of Israel. They are Michael's people. Some Israelites will look like they're Chinese, some will look like they're Caucasians, some will look like they're East Indians, some will look like they're Vietnamese, some will look like they're Japanese, some will look like they're African. But they are Michael's people because they are ultimately Israelites, according to the flesh. Boy, we're getting there. I'm telling you, boy, you better pull up your braces, boy. Truly. All right? So it says the same thing there. We go back to drop out to verse 10. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation. Right? And strength and the kingdom of the Most High and the power of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brethren, who's our accuser? Esau Edom, is cast down. The so-called white man. That's our accuser. Day and night, which accuses them before the Most High. There you go, day and night. That's our accuser, right? We fill up his jails, we fill up his courthouses, we fill up his civil courthouses, we fill up his unemployment line. That's our accuser. That's our oppressor that accuses us day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. That's why we talk about this chip. You got to be prepared to die before they put this chip on you. Because they're going to come down with that almighty wrath. The devil knows, but it has a short time, people. So things are truly heating up. Couple more precepts. 1 second. Couple more precepts, family. Revelations 19. Oi. Couple more precepts, boy. I wasn't going to spend too long on this today. Revelations 19. That's where I want to go to 19 and hold on. Just quickly look. I was looking at it. 19. Yeah, this is coming, man. This is coming. They're waiting for. I tell you, boy. When you see these news reports, like I said, my man Darbu can feel it in his spirit that this shit, right, is coming. This war, this whole thing. Revelations 19 and 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and him that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he does judge and make war. That's Yahweh Shai. That white horse is his chariot. He's coming to judge and make war with Esau, Edom, and the other nations. This is what they're preparing for. This is what the Russians and the Chinese and the Americans and NATO are preparing for with their space weapons. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. The Word of the Most High, right? And the armies, not the flowers and the roses and the ecstasy tablets and the hugs and the kisses, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon the white horses in their chariots, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword. What's that sharp sword? That laser beam. That sharp sword is what we read here. And they were, but I only saw that he sent out of his mouth as it was being a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only the dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Can you imagine? Esdras is witnessing the chariots against the airplanes and the fighter jets and the drones and the satellite technology and the foot soldiers and all of the armies on the grounds. He's seen it all, you know. John the Revelator is seeing the same thing. He says, and the armies which were with him, the angels, followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goes what? A sharp sword. That sharp sword is the laser beams. That's why Esau has that technology, because the Most High is giving him that technology. He's given Esau that technology. Right? He wants Esau to make it feel like it's going to be a fair fight. He's going to put the spirit on these Edomites and these heathens to make them believe that they've got the latest weapons to come up against the Lord. You'll see it there. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, which are the laser beams, out of the chariots. That with it should smite the nations people. Because all of the countries are going to come together. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, America, France, Germany, England, Denmark, Spain, Portugal, Uruguay, all of South American countries, Australia, New Zealand, they're all going to band together. They're all going to be one big happy family. Thinking, right, now we've got a threat coming from space, from outer space, from the heavens. And and out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the almighty power. So, Daniel, so not Daniel 4, got Daniel on my mind. Matthew 24 I want. Yeah. Matthew 24 I believe I want. Let me just quickly look. Let me look. Oh, Matthew 24. 1 second, people. Matthew 24. Yep. Yep, that's what I want. 24. Let's go to verse 29. Let's go straight to the point. We're going to show you. We're going to show you once again, boy, for all you doubters, all you haters out there, all right? All you doubters and you haters and you Bible-bashing Christians that don't understand a single shit of the Bible, all right? Preaching prosperity Christianity and equal opportunities Christianity, right? All of you pastors and preachers and bishops and cardinals and whatever your titles you're giving yourself and you so-called rabbis, right? This is why it's going to go down, people. Verse 29, Matthew 24, verse 29. It says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, right? What are those days is it talking about? That's World War III. Those are the nuclear bombs being fired. Immediately after the tribulation, after those nuclear bombs are fired on one another, immediately after the Russians fire their nukes on America, America on Russia, China on America, America on China, Russia on Europe, France and England, England, France and the rest of the allies, Israelis on Russia and the Chinese. Immediately after World War III gets to the nuclear power, the nuclear war. Remember what I said, it's going to start as a conventional war and escalate to a nuclear war. So immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened? What's going to darken the sun? Are the mushroom clouds from these nuclear weapons. And the moon shall not give her light. The mushroom cloud from these nuclear weapons, the fallout. And the stars shall fall from heaven. What are the stars that are going to be falling from heaven? It's not going to be the planets. Those planets that we see out there are called stars. Venus, the moon, Mercury, Saturn, Jupiter. They're called stars. Every planet you see out there in space, they're called stars. That's not going to fall. If Jupiter fell on Earth, Jupiter's about 100 times or 200 times the size of Earth. It's not talking about them. This is metaphorically talking about the nuclear missiles, your intercontinental ballistic missiles. This is what it's speaking of, right? When it says then the stars shall fall from heaven, those are your ICBMs. So you can replace the word stars and just put ICBM. And the ICBMs shall fall from heaven. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Because they're going to shake this place like there's no... Listen, shaken vac. There's going to be a serious shaken vac going on Earth. It's going to shake this place, people. You better pray. You better pray in the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai that you make up the elect. You better pray that you make up the elect. And then shall appear. That's why I said to you, is when the nuclear war starts, when they fire the nuclear weapons on each other, then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, which is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. In heaven. He's going to appear in heaven alongside who? Alongside Michael and his archangels. He's going to appear in heaven, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon the white horses, clothed in fine linen and white clean. He's going to appear in heaven with their armies of legions of angels, and amongst them is going to be Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, all the 7 archangels, and all the other legions of angels that they're going to be leading. So Matthew makes it quite clear. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, right as those nukes are being fired on each other. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, all the nations of the earth are going to mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man, Yahweh Shai, coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. We tell you about that power here, right, in 2nd Ezra. Ezra said it. Ezra said here. And I beheld, and lo, that man which waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, so the armies, the angels, once again, Israel's telling the same thing. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were under him. Right? Matthew said this, Yahweh Shai. Let's just red letter this, right? Make this more interesting. I'm not saying it's less interesting, but let's just red letter this, right? So Yahweh Shai is telling the same thing, right? Yahweh Shai says, and he shall appear the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Oh, there'll be weeping and moaning and lamentations, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So Ezra tells you exactly about that, right? He says, And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they that turned heard his voice, like as it was the earth that faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, right, from the four winds of the earth to subdue the man that came out of the sea, Yahushai. But I beheld, and lo, he had engraved himself a great mountain, which is his chariot. That's the glory. That's the great glory. It's the Lord and his chariot, and all the angels in their chariot. That's the great glory that the whole world is going to witness. Ezra described it as a mountain, a great mountain, that he flew upon it. And he said he could not be seen the region or the place where the hill or the graven image he could not see, where it started or where it finished. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, yet they does fight. They're going to fight. And Yahushua said the same thing. He says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect. Electos, chosen. Not equal opportunities Christianity. He's elect from the four winds, from the four corners of the world, from one end of heaven to the other. Oh man, this thing is coming, boy. You better believe it, boy. Truly, and we're closer than what you think. One more precept before we shut this down. One more precept before we shut this down, boy. I just really wanted to just speak about this, boy. So, where was I? One more precept. So, where would I want to put it out of? Isaiah, hold on. One more precept. It's always got like Isaiah. Isaiah's always got something good to tell you, boy. Isaiah, I want to go to. Hold on. Isaiah 59. And 59. So get one more precept. Isaiah 59 and 12. 59 and 12? No, not 59, 60. Isaiah 60 and 12, sorry. Isaiah chapter 60 verse 12. For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve thee, that's not going to serve thee, shall what? Shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So for any nation and kingdom, once we take these devils down, all of these heathen allies, for any one of these that refuse to serve the children of Israel, that are going to come with their immortal powers, spiritual powers and immortality to rule this world with a rod of iron, shall utterly be wasted. I say again, for the nation and the kingdoms that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. So we say again, one more time. We'll play this one more time.
Some things we need to look at here closely. First off, they've been announcing a lot of these asteroids here lately, but they missed one that came extremely close just last week. Now, they're saying 3 huge asteroids are headed toward Earth after an amateur astronomer spots a massive space rock that our planetary defenses completely missed. This comes on the heels of an announcement today that Russia and China have DEWs, direct energy weapons. That is the exact verbiage used by our U.S. military in calling them out today. The timing of which is pretty crazy. Because when we go over and we look at Elon Musk's image on his Twitter, he has changed it to what it looks like, a direct energy weapon. As you can see right here. It looks like a beam. Just a direct energy beam.
Absolutely.
Blasting straight down. What it is really, what all's going on here, we don't know, but the timing, I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence. They're doing these things for a reason. So, this DEW beam, all of a sudden in Elon's image, right as they're saying that China and Russia have these weapons. Now, you know the United States has got some of their own. They're not saying anything in that department. But here recently, everything with the space wars has been heating up. The whole space divisions. They said that Russia had certain satellites up there that were weaponized, meaning that they could bite into another satellite. Russia admitted this. They're like, oh, it's not a weapon. It's up there to help clean up space. It's eating junk. It's munching on all the old metal and collecting it. The United States is like, bull. It could bite right into any active satellite and cripple it and take it out. And it could. That's just a basic chomper on one of these satellites they've got up there operating. You start talking about high-tech, direct energy weapons. You're talking about blasting things from space, anything and everything. You could be zapping planes out of the skies like birds. You could be zapping installations. You could be causing so much to happen. Blasting holes in the earth. Who knows? At this point, this is high-grade stuff. What we do know is that they're talking about it left and right.
Yeah.
And they're admitting that dues are real. It's not a conspiracy theory. Okay, so when it's brought up in connection with other things like whole neighborhoods being roasted yet the trees are standing, you can see why it's brought up. It's a very real thing, and they all know it. But this is kind of unprecedented, man. This is almost like a warning shot across the bow here that something's going on.
Something's going on, bro.
I'm not sure what the next step's going to be. Is it going to be a move with one of these weapons, hitting a target, an attack on something? I don't know, but if they've got these weapons, when else in history have they ever sat back and not used them? So something's coming here on this world stage. Whether it be here on the ground or from the heavens, it's definitely all in their hands. And this sets the stage for a big show in the offing that we've talked about for a long time. They pull out Project Bluebeam. They pull out all these lasers. They pull out all the stuff. They can put on quite a show for the masses. So I'm going to break this down further. There's a lot to talk about here. So join me.
So, like I said, we just got to get ourselves ready, boy, because we're getting closer to the shit. And certain people are waking up to what's going on. They're not able to tie what they're speaking on to the scriptures, to prophecy, but what they're speaking on, what's going on in the secular world, is prophesied in the Bible. These nations are getting ready for the Lord. They're getting ready for World War III. They're getting ready to push out the microchip on a global scale. They're getting ready to install their new world order, global one world government based on totalitarian systems. And they are also preparing for the coming of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and his angels with their weapons. So on that note, I pray this was an edifying lesson to all the brothers and sisters that tuned in live, and for those of you that may tune in later. As I always say, give all praises, Kal, Halal, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushai, Bashim, Rakah, Kodash. Until we meet again, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. It's all about enduring this road to the end, people. Enduring it.